Hello, loved ones. Thank you for joining us today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Can you believe that we are 2 weeks out from Decision Day? Please subscribe so that you can be part of the congregation. And if you want to be part of the conversation, then shout out in the comment section. If you are excited about a particular married at first sight couple, then see the timestamps in the description box. Be sure to stay until the end so that you can get fuel you can use, which is a spiritual truth to help you through the week. Hello, John. We are back for another review of Married at First Sight. How are you feeling about this episode?
Great, Evelani, great. I'm looking forward to this one.
We are going to start with our first couple, Lindsey and Mark. Lindsey was talking to the ladies in the sauna, and Mark was talking to the guys in the kitchen. I thought it was really good that they both were saying semi-positive things about each other. Mark was saying how he has seen a side of Lindsey that he would enjoy if they could only just kind of keep the noise down. And yes, how they had not argued in 3 days. But I'm glad to see that he still kind of wants to try, and he is talking to them about the positiveness about Lindsey, because from his conversation, it sounded like Lindsey is a nurturer. You know, she'll take care of his mom, you know, so it seems like she is helping him in those areas. And one thing that I noticed about Lindsey is later on in the episode, when she got mad at Mark and she said, I am done with him. You know, I'm gonna take care of his cat on Wednesday and then I'm done. You know, so she still was like, hey, you know, I am gonna help him in this area and then I'm gonna be done. And I like when people can set that aside and still be compassionate and be who they are, even though they're mad at you, they still do what they need to do for you, you know, in that situation. So I really like that. But in the sauna, she was telling the girls that she did not want to be his mom. But my thing is, who did he ask for, mom? And I think that plays out, that they just have a different view. She seems like she just runs in and now this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to help you, kind of without getting his perspective as to what he needs help with. Because later on in the episode, when they were in bed, and she said, you just got a lot of going on in your life and you just have a lot of chaos. And he was like, I don't like that statement. Like, he didn't agree with that statement. And she's like, you know, you moved out of your house, you don't have a job. And he was just like, well, I don't agree with that. And he's probably thinking to himself, for one thing, I lost my job because I was dealing with you on a show. Like, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have lost my job. And I lost my apartment because I was on a honeymoon with you. If I had been there to take care of it. And he's probably just one of those guys that says, you know what, I'll just deal with it. Get me a new apartment, get me a new job. I'm not going to dwell on it. But because Lindsey, she is in a lot of chaos. And it's really interesting that she always talks about his chaos, but she never talks about her chaos, because she does mention quite a few times that her and her mom doesn't talk. She's mentioned it before, and you know, and you can tell that it bothers her because she brings it up a lot. To me, that's chaos. That is chaos. So there are some things that are chaotic in your life that you don't want to talk about, but you always want to hold his information out on Front Street. And I don't know. I hope that she can reflect on the show and make a change in that area. When they were at the dinner and she made the comment about the murder mystery, like somebody's gonna die tonight, I thought it was funny too. But Lindsey always takes it too far, and she does not read the room, because everybody was looking at her like, really? And that is when I don't know if Lindsey is being Lindsey or if Lindsey is playing to the cameras. And then she cannot take what she dishes out, because I don't think that calling you hyper, which she is, to me, that's a very mild term in order to call her. I don't think that he was trying to take a dig at her. But I think that she said last week, she's sad all the time. So I think she does have some emotional issues. And when you have that, everything does, you know, and I've been there before, where it just, everything gets on your nerves, everything, you just nobody can say anything to you that is going to be right. And I think that that's just who she is right now. Hopefully she can get some assistance on that. But for her to blow up so fast about him saying that she was hyper was just, I didn't understand that at all. I actually had to rewind it because I'm like, well, what did he say?
Yes, yes. You know, Lindsey loved it when he told her to go to the sound bath, because she even became a little bit emotional because the different sounds and everything were so serene until it put her in a space with her grandfather. And it seems like it was the grandfather that she really loved, and she could feel his presence, her grandfather's presence with her. So she became really emotional about it. And if you ask Mark, how did he enjoy the sound bath? Well, you could tell because he fell asleep.
I would love to do that because I love to be like in a relaxed setting. I didn't understand the tones, but I think I could be relaxed. And I'm like, Lindsey, just leave him alone. Because when the guy said, when you're ready, you can get up. And it just remind me of when you get a massage and they say, you know, just go ahead and relax and get up, you know, when you feel like getting up. Usually I just get up because I'm like, you know what, I just been here too long. Somebody else may need the room. I don't want them, you know, so I'll just get up because like, okay, because I'm thinking about them. And I felt like that's what Mark was doing. He was just really in a relaxed state, probably in a mild sleep or whatever. Just let him just lay there. Yes. And then we move to the game, the most likely game that night. And it really, I didn't understand why Lindsey got so upset, because everybody had something against them. Everybody had something negative and everybody else was laughing. But to me, that again shows how Lindsey can dish it out, but she can't take it because she even had digs on other people.
Mark already knew that, hey, we were already on a downward spiral, and this isn't going to work. The very first thing they asked is, who would be the person that would most likely start a fight? And everyone said Lindsey. Okay, and Mark already knew, oh man, she did not like that. And then they went on and they asked another one, who would be the first person to lie about sex? And even Mark put on his card, Lindsey. And Lindsey, you know, made a negative comment to Mark. But after that, it was on. Lindsey got upset with everyone. And once Lindsey gets upset, she goes into attack mode. And Mark, he's looking at her, but he's no longer defending her now. You know, he doesn't feel like he has to defend her because her character speaks for itself. And I think Mark was a little bit more at ease now because he knows that everyone knows Lindsey.
And what it really looked like to me, the two most likelies, the one most likely when they said, who is the most likely to lie about sex? And Mark said Lindsey, and Jasmina asked him, why do you say Lindsey? And Lindsey made a negative comment like, because I tell him it's good. I mean, there is men in that room, and no man want to be embarrassed in front of other men, you know, about intimacy. That is just inappropriate, and everybody looked like, oh my God, like Jasmina and Michael, they even turned around because they like, did she just say this out loud in front of us? And then I liked how Mark just kept it, you know, he didn't lash back or take a dig. He just said she would look at it differently than me when she's talking to others. And I like that he just took the high road and just went on with that. But the one that said, who is most likely to get in the fight? I do say Steve shouldn't have made that comment. Are we now saying that Lindsey started the fight on the airplane? Because, you know, that's just a dig. But it really looked to me like Lindsey voted for herself.
Yes.
The game kind of like fizzled out because it was just, she just went off too much. But that was a question. They then, you know, she then told them all off about how she doesn't care about what they say. But then she turned her board around later on that was just sitting on her lap and it said Lindsey. So I think she voted for herself, but then she had an emotional meltdown because that's just who she is. And then when she went out and Mark used the fuel to start the fire, her kerosene to start the fire, and she got mad at him, I would have just said, look, you know what, we married, so this 50% mine, you get over it, move on, you know. I do like that the next morning, Lindsey did apologize to Mark and say, hey, you know, it's just, you know, it wasn't even about that. I don't know if I've really ever heard Lindsey apologize in that manner without Mark just like laying on the sword and then, you know. So I was really glad that she did that. And I think that she did that because of the compassion of Mark, because she got sick that morning.
Yes.
He wasn't holding it against her that we went to bed mad last night. He sprung right into the action. Come on, let me get to the hospital. What do you need? And I think when he showed that compassion, which is what Lindsey asked for all the time. You know, I want to feel like I'm loved. I want to feel like this. I want to feel like that. I think that then allowed her, because now he was turning all of his attention to her.
She gets sick and has to go to the hospital because she had dehydrated, and Mark wants to make sure that the hospital has an IV and everything. And after she gets the liquids that she needs, Lindsey's, you know, she bounces back like nothing's happened. She goes to Mark like, okay, nothing's happened. But you know, it's that downward roller coaster, the Lindsey and Mark ride. You know, people are paying for admission for the Lindsey and Mark ride.
Yes. So I was glad to see that Lindsey actually did not jump off the car, since that is what they teased, that this Lindsey like literally jumped off the car. But I am kind of suspect if Lindsey got sick and needed some IV fluid because of the night before, and she didn't want to face everyone after she just had all this drama unfold, and maybe she just like wanted to skip the noise and get away. I don't know about Mark and Lindsey. I still think that they have a chance to make it, because I think that they both still, I think they want to be together. I really think they have a desire to be together.
I think Mark honestly has already checked out and he's going through the process, but I think that when he looks at the cost and benefits, he's already weighed it, and he says, hey, I see the benefits and they're nice, but the cost is just too high.
We are going to move on to our next couple, Olajawon and Katina. We first saw them when they were packing for their trip to Vermont, and I noticed the little dig that Olajawon gave Katina by asking her, are you going to cook? And she was like, you know, I don't want to cook for all them people. Of course she doesn't want to cook, but anytime, I feel like anytime he can get it in or fit it in, he makes sure that he says something about it. The thing that I loved about Olajawon this trip, when the guys were talking in the kitchen and Michael said that him and Jasmina were doing better and they were on a better page and everything like that, Olajawon was like, oh man, I'm so excited for you. I've been praying for you. So I was like, So I wonder, is he a man of faith? I mean, because, you know, that just kind of, and I felt like it was a real sincere comment that he had been praying for him. So I thought awesome, Olajawon, awesome. And I'm glad that they kept that little small blurb in there. The next thing that we saw from Katina and Olajawon is when they were at the group dinner at the table and everybody was talking, and he finally gave Katina her flowers. He gave her her flowers. He just praised her up. You know what? This Katina has been holding it down, which is what we've been saying already. She is the one that is holding this marriage together. But I'm glad that he praised her in public, because sometimes he says some things that are inappropriate in public. So if you're gonna put me down in public, then praise me in public as well. So I was really glad, and she had just the biggest smile on her face, and you know, was really happy that he was like saying that, to hear that, and for them to hear that. So I thought that was a very beautiful moment for the both of them. I thought it was interesting that he said that this is the first relationship that he has been in that he's been the leader, that he has not been the leader. I'm like, well, then who's leading? Because it's show not Katina. I'm like, for one thing, how many relationships have you been in? Because you said you was Isaac and you never committed. So like what were you leading? Because you said these were all kind of interaction encounters. So I'm not sure what he thinks a leader is, because I think that he is totally leading the relationship from what we can see. Maybe she is leading from the background, or he feels it, or maybe he never had given a woman any input as much as he's given to Katina. I don't know, but I thought that that was very interesting at the dinner table.
You know, in the past, it talked about, he would say that Katina, she does her leading behind the cameras, you know. So he says, you don't think Katina is a strong woman, but you should hear what she says behind the camera. So off camera, I think Katina is doing the leading. We know that she is a strong woman. And so for Olajuwon to say, you know, that this is the first time that he hasn't really been the leader, I think off camera, she shows him how strong she really is. And then on some of the things that she does, how when they went to the pet farm, and she was the one who had a fear of animals, but since she knows that he really enjoyed animals, and he also knew of her fear of animals and stuff like that. But for her to step out of her comfort zone and give him that nice moment because she knew he would enjoy it, went a long way. So he's commenting on her strength in those particular areas.
Absolutely. And I admire her because I'm not an animal person either. So then with those alpacas, and when she was being drugged and he was like, I'm coming, I'm like, you are too far behind there. Come, you need to be like right on here with me to stop this particular animal. But she looked like she had a lot of fun and she handled it with care. And I have never seen a placenta. And I too, like Olajuwon, was like, oh my God, the dog is gonna eat that placenta. And I too was like, Katina, look, girl, you need to do all that in private. Like, it's people watching here. Come on now, have a little decorum. So I was with her, but I thought that that was a very unique experience. So I love when I see people just having genuine fun. So I really did enjoy that about them. And then we see them go off to themselves, and I don't think she packed a lunch, but she did pack some cheese and crackers. So she is really true to her cooking skills. She is like, look, we're gonna have these cheese and this cracker and this wine. That's what we having for lunch. But I thought that their conversation was very, very interesting. And for me, it's hard to watch on television because I still think that Olajuwon's tone and the way he says things, it just comes off the wrong way. However, the conversation itself, I think would have been appropriate, you know, if they weren't on Married at First Sight and they were just out on a picnic together with no cameras around and they had the conversation. I didn't think there was anything wrong with what he was asking, trying to find out her timeline, trying to find out his timeline, trying to see what's going to work for both of them. I liked the conversation. I really did.
I think you're correct on that, but like you said, you made the comment and you hit the nail right on the head when you said the way he says it, his approach is not the content, is his delivery, his approach. And his coach, if you remember in episodes past, his coach told him that he had to watch the way he said things, because the way he said things could get him in trouble later. So he's always had this problem in terms of delivery, okay? He says things, you know, he says things right off the top of his head without thinking, and he doesn't, and then when people get upset about it, then, you know, he's considered the bad guy, and he says, but when they really get to know me, they find out that I'm not as bad as they think I am. Well, it's because of your approach, it's your presentation. So yes, I understand the comment that he made. It was a great comment in terms of her plan and in terms of what he said in terms of his success. He had already paid off his student loans, you know, and he had already, you know, did well in terms of purchasing his home and everything like that. So he asked her basically, when did she plan to have a child? She said in 2 years. He said, but when are you planning on going to school or finishing school? She said in 2 years. He said, wait, how are you going to go to school and have a child. And I think that if you look at it from Olajawon's standpoint, like most men, he's a one task oriented person. You give me one task, I can do it well. That's all I concentrate on. That's all I focus on. You give me one task. But women can multitask, and they can multitask fairly well. And Katina was trying to show him, wait, what are you talking about? I come from a single parent home, and my mother was able to do this, that, and the other. Multitasking is easy for me, okay? But Olajawon was saying, well, if it was so easy for you, you should be where I am right now in terms of your education, in terms of your student loans. You should be where I am. And the reason why I don't think you're there yet is because you were doing too many things at once.
That could be, and I didn't like his comment about that because he's like, and you're older. I just feel like he just takes little digs that are inappropriate and not called for, which him and Lindsey's personality is similar. So maybe that's not something they do on purpose, but that's just who they are, and they're going to have to really work hard on not doing that. And I love what Katina said. She said it to the camera when she said, he's just different than me, because if he needs to use that to make the decision, then he should. But for me, I just say, this is the plan. Then we look at where we are in 2 years, and then we decide if we can move forward with this or adjust it. And also, I wonder if it's a perspective, because, I thought he came from a single parent household too. So I don't know though for sure. But, because she said, well, I'm from a single parent household, and I know that it all can be done. And then he backpedaled, because his thing has been, the wifely duties is to take care of the house, and I don't mind being the man to take care of the home, take care of the bills. And he said that before, but now they talking about it. He's like, I don't want to take care of you and your kids. Yeah. Like, I can't do that. Like, because if he was really okay with being the man and taking care of the household, who cares? Because she could just go home and take care of kids any way she wanted to, and he would be paying for the household. So I'm not sure how that fits into what he's been saying. Did you see the marketing that Olajuwon was doing? He had on a black shirt with white writing, and it said, I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. And I think when he finishes the show that he's gonna market that. And mind you, I don't have no problem with that. Be a marketing genius. Use your 5 minutes to take you a long, long way. There has been people who written books after they finished with Married at First Sight. That's what Keith did. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for him. The last thing that I noticed about them is I think that they both kind of were telling us that they have consummated their relationship. During the alpaca trip, Katina said, we have pop bottles. I think that was a subliminal message. And then during the game, they said, who is the person most likely to lie about sex? And Olajawon, he said himself. So I think he's telling us that he's lying about sex. And Katina, I think she said Steve just to throw it off, because she wasn't trying to give it away. Because when they asked her, why do you say Steve? They was like, I don't know. It's just something about him. I think she was just trying to move the target. But Olajawon said me. But if they have, that's great. They're married, they're allowed to do that. But we'll see. I can't wait to see when they come out and everything is revealed, if that was a subliminal clue for us.
Yeah, and the statement that Olajawon made to Katina about age, I think that's dealing with, the timeline or the women's clock when it comes down to having children. So I don't think that it was a dig. He's basically saying, well, we know you're older now, so chances are you're going to want to have children sooner rather than later. And you say, you're going to wait. It's going to take you about 2 years to finish college. So, and you said you want to have a baby within the next 2 years. Well, he's saying, you're probably going to have to just stick to one. Either you're going to have the baby, have the baby and get that all straightened out, or you're going to finish college. But I don't think you're going to want to do both. So I just think that he was talking about the woman's clock.
I don't think Olajawon is giving her a choice to finish school. I think that he's like, you are going to go and finish school. and you're not going to be able to have a baby during that time because you can't do both. I think that he expects her to go and finish school because he talks a lot about the education and, you know, what he's done. And you think it's a choice? You think he's giving her a choice?
But what about the children? Do you think he wants children?
I think he does, but I think he's letting her know that you just gonna have to they say at 35 is a geriatric pregnancy. So I guess he just like, you know, hey, I think it was a dig because I think he was saying, look, if you hadn't been playing around these last 5 years while I was working hard, taking care of my money and stuff, then, you know, you would have been further along and we wouldn't be in this mess. That's
Wow.
really the perspective that I got from it. And now you just gonna have to deal with having kids late because you can't do them both. And, you know, you getting older and, you know, I'm more mature than you, even though I'm younger. That, I mean, he didn't say all that, but that's what I heard.
Oh yeah, it's like now you're behind the 8 ball now, and you're trying to make the shot behind the 8 ball because you're playing catch up now. But now we both have to suffer through it. You're not doing it by yourself. Now we both have to suffer because you procrastinated.
Yes, that is what I heard.
I agree. That sounds like that would be Olajawon.
Yes.
Olajawon.
Absolutely, but we'll see how it goes with Olajawon and Katina.
Welcome to Fueled by Intentions, where we talk about faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. Sponsored by BYNUM'S Business Solutions, where the right fit is made simple. We specialize in tips, tools, and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial health so that you can take control of how you spend your money so that you can spend more time with your family, friends, and doing the things you love. So let's jump right into the video.
We are going to move on to our third couple, Noi and Steve. We really did see the blip in Noi and Steve's relationship. The blip is this social media. We saw that Steve mentioned it while they were packing. He mentioned it on the car ride to the event. He told the guys about it in their discussion in the kitchen. He then brought it up at the table when the women joined him. Then he brought it up when they were going to sleep that night. And then he brought it up again when they were at their theme park outing. So this is a very deep issue for Steve.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I believe these kind of things happen where you just cannot agree on something and it just lingers for a long period of time. So I can definitely understand the passion behind it. The first time he said something about it was when they were packing. He got a dig in on Noi because Noi said that she posted on social media that it was hard for her to say goodbye to Sushi. And that somebody on social media said, what happened? Did he die? And she was like, oh my God, no. And he was like, well, you got to be careful what you post on social media because people will get the wrong impression. I'm like, that was his first dig. And then the montage that production did in the car, like showing their faces going around the wheel as they went back and forth, arguing about the social media. But I have to give Steve some credit though, because I feel like he really communicated well. He talked about him. I'm hurt. This is how this makes me feel. You know, and I can't believe that she was not compassionate. And I did not like the way she defended herself to say, well, you're telling me I can't post on social media, then that is telling me that I can't have my freedom of speech in the way that I communicate with one another. And if you really look at it, after they talked about it, well, I don't think she really knows that he talked about it with the guys. So half the people at the table really didn't know what they were talking about. But I feel like he hit the nail on the head. He said, we need to come to an agreement of how we're gonna discuss our relationship in front of other people. Because just like she posted on social media, he wanted to talk about it at the table, but she didn't want to talk about it at the table. And I do see that as the same type of thing, although she was not happy that he made the comment that we're talking about similar things, you posting on social media is just like me talking to them about it. But I did not like that Steve asked her, do you want to talk about it? And then gave her hesitation when she said no. Well, if I'm not allowed to say no, I don't want to talk about it, then just talk about it and don't ask me. Because he seems like he's asking for her permission, but he really didn't want it because he really wanted to talk about it. So you're asking me a question, but you really want me to say yes. And when I say no, don't give you the answer that you want, then now we got this back and forth. And it was so funny because the other couples, they were ready. They like, we've been waiting a week on this tea. Like we've been, he didn't want to talk about it without you, which was good on Steve's part that he didn't do that. Waited till she was there. But now we are ready. And when she said no, they were like, no, and then I think that makes people feel uncomfortable because when everybody is sharing about their relationship, and then there's that one couple that's like, no, I'm not going to share. I'm not going to say anything. You don't want to really be open with that couple anymore because it should be an exchange. We're exchanging information, exchanging ideas. You're seeing the vulnerable part of me. I'm seeing the vulnerable part of you. But I think Noah didn't want to discuss it because I think that she knows that she's wrong and that everybody at the table would have said that she was wrong. But then this could have been a similar situation to the Olajawon and Katina situation at the last dinner. So I really didn't know. I don't know how to really call that. But I did like at night when they were in the bed and he brought it up again and she didn't want to talk about it. I like that she told him why, because she said, I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to argue because we're not on the same page on this and I didn't want to go back and forth in a group. I wish she would have just said that at the table because I feel like that would have just shut down the conversation and people understand that. But I love that he embraced her. And he was just like, okay, do you want to switch sides of the bed so that you can sleep on the side that you're most comfortable with? I do like that he said, come close to me. And then he said, can you come a little closer to me? When she folded her hands, just to let her know, because I think it's really important that when you're having tension in your marriage, that you assure that person that I'm still here for you, I'm still with you, and I still love you, even though we're going through this issue. Because some people cannot. They will shut you out, they will shun you while you're going through that issue. So I thought that was very, very mature of Steve in order to handle it that way. And I thought that he was being the man taking charge of the situation in that situation. And I really did like that.
Yeah, I like to commend him on that as well. And when I look at Noi, and I'm still going back to the annoy because she annoys me in terms of when we're talking about social media, because in scenes in the past, she said that she didn't care what anybody thought about her posting on social media. She can do anything she wants. And Steve asked her a question. He says, even when it hurts me, you'll still do it? And she said, well, nobody's going to stop me from posting on social media. So I think it's, like I said, I think it's a matter of respect. Okay, you know that it hurts me, but you continue to do it. And then Steve had mentioned in the past, he says, my family looks at this stuff and I don't want them to get the wrong impression of you. So he's really concerned because she has the world looking at her through these posts, and how they perceive her could be damaging to how they treat her in the future as his wife. So he's concerned about that, and I think rightfully so. But I like the way that Steve takes over. I like the fact that he kept on that. He wanted her to address the issue about social media. He wanted to address it. Let's address it. He wanted to resolve it. Okay, he wanted to get this resolved. And basically, he wanted her to show that she was as committed to the relationship as he was by her no longer posting their relationship on social media. Okay, he wanted her to show that she's committed to this marriage. And sometimes Noi does things that, makes him think that she isn't as serious about the relationship that he is. So I think that's really the crux of what Steve's trying to get at with Noi. And you can see that Steve is the stronger person because Steve says, you know, I think that's childish. You're acting childish in terms of the way you're handling this situation. You'll rather post it on social media, but you don't want to talk about it in public. But you rather post it on social media where there's millions of people looking at us. Okay, and in public, we have a support group and you don't want to talk about it then? I think that's childish. So I think that it was reasonable for him to try to get her to discuss it then, even though she did not want to discuss it, because that was, at least we're with the support group, and that's what we're here for, to support one another. But you don't even want to do it then. So I thought that was bad. That was a bad move on Noi's case.
During the couples game, the answers that they chose was very telling about their personalities. I think that Noi wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And we saw that during the game because she was the one most likely to stay at home. And I think that confirms what I said last week, that she's jealous of Steve, that he can stay at home where she would like to be. But last week, I think he told her that she had a choice in order to stay at home. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to see Noi and Steve on couples cam, and Noi is going to be a stay-at-home mom living off of the entrepreneurship of Steve. So mark my words, because that is the future of Noi and Steve.
I found that it was great that Steve actually did the cooking for the men. The men were supposed to cook for the women and for the couples entirely. And Steve was the one who did all the cooking. Everybody else became his sous chefs because he's the one that cooked the meal, just like Jasmina cooked the meal for the women. Steve cooked the meal for the men, and he did a good job. Everyone enjoyed it and stuff like that. So everyone liked the fact that Steve is a good cook, and Noi knows that Steve is a good cook.
The last thing we see of Noi and Steve is on the car ride home. And I thought that Noi did very well in articulating the reasons why she didn't want to move in with Steve, or why she had some apprehensions about moving in with Steve. I don't think that Noi is a really good communicator, because I think she should have said these things 2 weeks ago when they were having the discussion. But I'm glad she finally shared that she was just really scared that when she moved here in her last relationship, she had nothing and no family and no job, and that her apartment, her studio that she lives in, is the first apartment that she's had for herself on her own, and that she's just nervous about letting it go and kind of wants to keep it because if something happens, she has a safety net. In this instance, I don't believe that Steve showed a lot of compassion. However, I think he is a compassionate person. And the reason why he didn't, because it's a little too late, because they've already had this discussion. So he's already worked up about the issue. I feel like if she had shared it with him when the subject first began, that he could have showed a little more care and compassion about her feelings. But he's just kind of like, look, we're married now, you need to move in, and he's not even hearing her fears, which I hope he does, because I feel like if he addresses them, then that will give her more confidence that he is going to take care of her moving forward, and it will alleviate some of the fears that she has. But I was really glad that Noi finally spoke up and let him in, because he said on several episodes that a lot of times he does not know what she's thinking, and she does not articulate what she's thinking. So I feel like in that moment when she does, he has to really lean in and help her with that, so that she will open up more, because that is just not in her normal personality to be communicative and to tell her thoughts and feelings.
And I think that was brought up a few episodes ago, where the coaches told them to articulate their pain points in their relationship to their spouses, and that was a excellent time for Noi to actually have told Steve that, because Steve had also received the same information from the coaches, and it would have been just right on if she would have done it then, but she didn't. She deferred. So because she deferred, that's why it compounded the pain point of her telling Steve, because he was already frustrated from the notion that she planned on staying in separate dwellings, after they were married. Wait, we're married. Married people do not live in separate houses. And the fact that she was saying it without giving him any reasoning behind doing it, he was saying no. The only reason why, or he had to assume that the only reason why she was doing it is that she didn't really feel that the marriage was going to work.
Well, we will see about Noe and Steve. We have come to our last couple, Jasmina and Michael. This was a very interesting couple this week. We started off by seeing Jasmina and Michael have a conversation in the car on the way to Vermont about the state of their relationship and where they are. But he said 1 to 10. She said that she was a 5, that she was in the middle, but that would not make her say yes on decision day, and that she needed to continue to get to know him. But I still say she's trying to get to know Michael, and we trying to get to know her, because I feel like Michael is always sharing, letting us know who he is, how he feels, how he grew up. And I really don't think Jasmina is being the vulnerable person that she is asking to receive. And I'm not sure how he is interacting with that.
I think Michael's a real good catch. And, Jasmina thinks that she's the prize, but in this case, I think actually Michael is. So this is one of those cases of mistaken identity or mistaken reward. Right now, she's saying that she doesn't really see Michael as a lover, basically she sees Michael as a friend right now more than a lover. But she doesn't understand the best lovers are friends. And I think that's what she's missing out on. So she might, Michael says, okay, they're probably an 8. She says that they're probably a 5. No, Michael's an 8 if we wanted to rank him. And right now you're a 5, Jasmina, and you need to come up.
And then we see the kitchen talk, where Michael is talking with the guys in the kitchen, and he is telling them that they're on a better road, that they need to keep going up. And Steve makes a comment to say, there's some ups and downs. You learn some things when you're in the valley. And Michael's like, no, we cannot afford the valley right now. We can do nothing but go up. Normally, I would agree with that. But right now, because he knows Jasmina is at this 5. And if he has some valleys, then she is going to be even lower than the 5. And she's already told him, I'm not saying yes at the 5.
Well, right now they started in the valley, and they stayed in the valley for so long until Jasmina didn't think that they could ever make it back to the top of the hill because they started so far back in the valley. But Michael really has changed that, because Michael had made a concerted effort to change that paradigm and has successfully done that. Their relationship has been on a high, and I would have to say that's on the fact that Michael has been operating on 110, to try to make up for it. And it's shown. The relationship has blossomed. People can even see them together, their chemistry. They see how close they sit by each other. They see how playful they are with each other. And even the other couples see it. You guys are getting into going into a pretty good place. You're in a pretty good spot in your relationship now. And Michael's still saying, no, we got to keep on. We got to keep on striving for that 10, because if we don't hit that 10 mark, at least an 8, and this decision day, it will be a no.
Yes. So then we see them go and talk to a median. And I don't know what I think about this medium, because I wanted some decisions. I want to know, do you know what do you know? And my thing is, I don't think that the medium answered any of our questions because she gave them an out. She said, if you stay together, you're going to move to California and you're going to have a boat. And if you don't stay together, then Jasmina is going to be 1.5 years. Michael is going to be 5. Well, you the medium. So let us know, are we going to stay together? I felt like she needed to have a definite answer.
Okay. The medium told Jasmina that Michael loved her from day one. That Michael, I mean, it was love at first sight when he saw her, and Michael was saying, no. But no, and Jasmina, she was kind of like dropping back. I knew he liked me and stuff like that. But she knows that Michael really does care about her, and Michael has shown it. So it has Jasmina's reluctance to be vulnerable with Michael has nothing to do with how Michael has treated her recently, especially, and has opened himself up to her and has showed her how much he really cares about her and appreciates her, and how hard he's willing to work for their marriage to be a success. So the only thing that could be holding this marriage up is Jasmina. And I can understand if you say, well, I really don't like this guy or something like that. But what are you looking for in a husband? It seems like Michael is displaying all those things that a young lady would normally want in a husband. And listen here. When you have a partner that makes you laugh and you have a lot of fun together and stuff like that, that's big. That's big. And you see, they have it often. They have that in spades. And so I know that in the end, everything's going to be up to Jasmine.
Yes. The next thing for them is they were the leaders of the games for the day, and they wore the shirts, the boss and the real boss. And it's so funny because Steve said, if I have a question, which boss do I ask? And Jasmina was like, me, I am the real boss. And I think that she does believe she's the real boss in their relationship. I think that most men would go along with that banter, but I think for them, because I think she is the real boss in their relationship. She has more control over Michael because he wants the relationship more than she does. And I think that's why she holds the power in that relationship. He's really trying to please her.
When you talk about the boss and the real boss, I really think that Michael is the real boss. And usually, I'm just going to put it this way, you could say that, okay, your chauvinistic side is starting to come out, but usually the man is the boss and the woman is the assistant boss. Okay, so in this particular extent, that no, Jasmina will have to say, okay, I put the position of the boss, I relinquish that title to my husband. I defer it to my husband, and I'm willing to be the wife that supports him, because I know he's going to support us. So, and let it run that particular realm. So, yeah, playfully, yes. The woman is the real boss, playfully, and we men who are married, of course, we give that title to him. We know basically who keeps our household happy and who keeps our household peaceful and who keeps our household running. Yeah, we as men, we know that. But the woman also knows that we're the one who will go out there, and I know that she works too, but if she had to come home and take care of the children, she know we would be out there hitting it, okay, to make sure that our family is provided for. So,
I do agree with you that in Christian homes, scripturally speaking, the man is supposed to be the head of the house, and we are to submit. And a lot of women believe that the word submit is a negative, bad thing. I personally do not believe that. I believe that I am to submit to my husband, and I do believe that my husband is the real boss in my home. However, I like what you said, because in order for us to submit, we have to relinquish. It is a volunteer action that women have to make. They have to, in order to be led, you have to allow someone to lead. And
Yes.
that is what submission is. Women have to allow their husband to lead them, because nobody can make you, you know what I'm saying? So you have to lead. And honestly, I think that in the Bible, when the Lord says for us to submit, there are parts that he tells us submit one to another. But as it relates to the household, it does deem that the man is the head of the household. But I love the promise that God gives to women, because he said that if you submit, it says to submit to your husband. And I think that the Lord is telling me that if you submit to your husband, you're going to obey me. And because you're going to obey me, I'm going to take care of you. So personally, I do submit to my husband, but it has nothing to do with my husband. It has everything to do with the promise that I feel like the Lord is making to me, that I'm going to take care of you because you are obeying my word. If my husband is not telling me to do anything illegal, immoral, or against God's word, then I believe that I am to submit.
And you know, there's an old saying, a woman doesn't mind a man being king as long as he treats her like a queen.
That is such a deep discussion that we can have. So we're going to move on. But I do believe scripturally, I think we both can agree that God has deemed the man the head.
Yes.
Yes. The next is the game that they played. Jasmina voted herself best liar and said that if she wanted to lie, no one would know that she was lying. And I think that Jasmina was talking to us, the viewers, letting us know that she is going to say no on decision day, that this is all a lie, and we will not know it until that no on decision day, which I feel like she's left us clues. I think she's trying to be cordial in her marriage on camera, what she says, how she's going to represent herself. But I think she's going to say no on decision day based on everything else she said and based on that answer.
I think for it to be a lie, that she's going to say yes. Because her actions and everything has indicated that she's going to say no. But then she says that I deceived you guys all. I love this man. I like the way that he's been treating me. And on decision day, I did this act that you guys saw. I put this on for the cameras, but really, I love Michael. I think he's a great catch, and I look forward to our new life together. So watch. I'm going to say yes on decision day. And remember, mark these words. I was the best liar, and my lie was seamless.
Yes, it would be. That is a great, great point. We then see her cooking breakfast, standing in for Lindsey, and they enjoyed the breakfast, and they had a beautiful discussion at the table. And Michael revealed how much compassion, because we do fault Jasmina for not having a lot of compassion, but how much compassion that she had towards him when they were getting ready to go see the medium, and how she made sure that if he didn't want to be vulnerable in that moment, in that setting, that she would support him in that. And I thought that was, and she even got emotional about it, shedding a couple of tears with her little hard shell, but she was kind of breaking down too, saying how she felt about that. And he said that really made him feel like she cared for him.
Now, Michael is the man. Let me tell you why I say that Michael is the man. Michael said that to Jasmine privately, and Michael said that to the group publicly. Remember, in episodes past, Michael said that to Jasmine, and he let her know how he felt the relationship was going, and how he felt basically about her, how he really felt that that they're in a good place and everything is going well, and he feels so good and how comfortable of how everything is going good. Michael said that. Now, that was privately. Now he echoes the same words publicly. That's big. That's big. And we see Jasmine, she's getting a little emotional about it, but hey, that's my man. This man has me. This man. Now, what woman does not want to be loved? Michael is showing Jasmine that he really does love her. He really does care about her. He treats her the way he's been treating her, and so she feels like a queen. He treats her like a queen. Okay? Now, she's saying that there's some hesitancy about the intimacy portion of that. But the question is it her that's holding him back, or is she just waiting for him to make that advanced move? Time will tell.
Time will tell. Well, it is now time for our yes on decision day predictions. Who do you think will say yes on decision day?
My yes on decision day predictions will be Jasmina and Michael, Kateina and Olajawon.
My yes on decision day predictions will be Kateina and Olajuwon, Noe and Steve, and Mark and Lindsey.
Wow.
Today, our fuel you can use is inspired by Olajuwon. When he was talking to Michael in the kitchen, and Michael was expressing how excited he was about where him and Jasmina was in their relationship, Olajuwon said, "I'm really excited because I have been praying for you." James 5:16, which reads, "Confess your trespasses to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effective, fervent prayer of the righteous man availeth much." We are to pray for one another. And I think that is so awesome. No matter if it's something big or something small, the Bible says that we are to pray for one another. And there is nothing in life that we cannot go to God for in prayer. And not only do I love that Olajuwon indicated that he prayed for Michael, but he also celebrated with him in the answer to pray. So our fuel you can use is to encourage you to pray for those who are around you. Pray for those. If you see somebody struggling in their marriage, then pray for them. And you don't have to tell them, because it doesn't sound like Olajuwon went and announced that he was praying for Michael. You can go before God in prayer, not only for others, but also for yourself and your needs. Let's all go before the Lord in prayer. Well, that wraps up another episode of Married at First Sight. So what do you guys think? Do you think Noe and Steve will ever get over their issues? Do you think Jasmina is going to say yes or no? Do you think Lindsey was faking with her hospital visit? And what do you think? Will Olajuwon and Katina have children within the first 2 years? Well, let us know what you think by shouting out in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.